Hi, today we're looking at line segment. Quite an unusual puzzle. This is a spatial awareness puzzle, no numbers. We've got letters instead, some H's and V's and D's, and these represent segments of lines, hence line segment. The objective of the puzzle is to fill this grid with horizontal, vertical and diagonal lines. And obviously there are some rules, and those rules are that every cell containing a V must be traversed by a vertical line, every cell containing an H by a horizontal line, and every cell containing a D by a diagonal line. Lines can be either 3 or 4 cells wide, no shorter, no wider, and every cell in the grid must be traversed by one and only one line. So you cannot have lines crossing in cells, but you can have lines crossing at intersections like this. Now, it looks pretty daunting to start with, but with some simple logic, these puzzles are fairly straightforward. This is a nice, easy one-star puzzle just to get us started and to learn the ropes. As the puzzles get more complex, then they do require longer chains of logic and deduction to work out what goes where. So to tackle a puzzle like this, as usual, the easiest place to start is generally in the corners and work our way inwards. And I'm going to start up here in this corner because I have got a very easy win here. We've got a horizontal segment required, and we know that lines must be at least 3 cells wide. We cannot go that way and we can't go that way because we're in the corner of the puzzle. We can only go to the left, and we only have 3 cells to the left. So we know that we can place and must place a horizontal line that crosses 1, 2, 3 cells like that. I'm going to move down to here, next corner down, because we've got the same thing going on but vertically. We can't go downwards because we're at the edge of the puzzle, so we have to go upwards. It's the only valid option. But we're slightly different here. We can go up 1, 2, 3 cells. What we don't know is whether this V forms part of this vertical line here, or maybe we start a new line going up there, because remember, a line could be 3 or 4 cells. We don't know, so for the moment we'll release that V unfilled. Now, if we're working around the puzzle like this, we've got some H's here, but we don't know if these are connected. They could be like that, going that way, or 4 and 4. So we don't know which way we're going, so we can't do anything with that. What we can do is this one here. We know we can go that way at least 3 cells, which takes care of this H as well. Again, we don't know. Maybe we're going to continue into this cell, maybe we're not. We can't tell, but we can tell that this one has to go to here because that's the only valid option. Now I want to look at this V next because, again, working around the edge of the puzzle, we can't go upwards. We've only got a 3-cell block there that we can fill in. So we know that that goes like that. Now we have another 2 H's here for information, like the 2 we had down here. The difference here is that we know they must be connected because whether we go 3 like that or 3 like that, or even all down 4 across, whatever happens, we've got a line that traverses the 2 of them together. So I'm going to draw it in like that. I'm not going to go quite to the edge of each cell because we don't know which way, or if it goes both ways, the line is going to exit those cells. So we'll leave it like that for now. So I deliberately left this corner empty to start with because although we have a V here, which may well go upwards, it was equally possible that we had a diagonal line coming down this way. Although actually, you can see that that's not possible because this V here blocks it from being 3 cells wide. So now that we've got this line in here, we can be absolutely sure we've got nothing coming in that way. Therefore, we can put a line through 3 cells like that. Again, I'm not going to include this V here because maybe this V is part of another line, or maybe it's the extension of this one. We don't know yet. So continuing to work inwards from the outside because we're using the constraints of the edge of the puzzle, and we're also using the constraints of the lines that we've now added. We can look at, for example, this V. Well, we know we can't go up here anymore because we've put this new line in. So we can come down from this one. We can start at the edge and we can come down 3 cells. And again, I'm not going to go right to the edge of the cell because maybe we go in further down, but we don't know yet. Now, this line here helps us because we can now determine that this cell cannot be part of the diagonal line going that way because this line or this cell is blocking it. Therefore, it has to be part of this vertical line here. So we can draw in 3 cells like that. And once again, I'm not going to the edge of this cell because maybe we're coming down further or maybe we're not. See, this could be a 4-cell vertical. This could be a 4-cell vertical. Maybe this is diagonal. Probably not because this one blocks it, but we could be coming a diagonal out of here. Or we could have a 3-line vertical here. We don't know yet, so we can't do anything with that. We've got another constraint down here, this V. We've blocked off these 2 cells going downwards at that line, so we can go up from the edge of the cell. We can go up 3 without going to the edge of the cell, of course. Now, so far, we've just been looking at horizontals and verticals because they're pretty easy. Diagonals, well, let's look at some of those now. Starting at the top again, because of the constraints of the edge of the puzzle. This D, well, we can't go that way or that way because we're at the edge of the puzzle. We could come down here, except that now we've got this line here that's blocking us from making it a 3-cell diagonal. So we know that we have to go that way, at least 3 cells. Diagonals, we need to be careful we join these in. Start right in the corner. We come down 1, 2, and 3 cells like that. And maybe we continue there, or maybe not, because there's a good chance 1, 2, 3, do 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm fairly sure that this is going to have to be a vertical. So I think we're done there. While we're at the top of the puzzle up here, I'm quite interested in this cell because it can't be part of a vertical line. There's no V's around us. It can't be part of a horizontal line because you've got a D there and we've got a line blocking us that way. So the only thing that this cell could possibly be, because we can't go that way and that way, this one's blocking us, we have to go this way. So we have to put in a diagonal line up here. It's the only way, including that cell. So you'll see that easel no, there's no D's in any of those 3 cells. I do have to form a diagonal line because otherwise we're orphaning this cell. We're isolating it and unable to fill it. And of course, that now has a knock-on effect that because we cannot continue this horizontal line that way, we have to go to the left. We can extend this one to the left, and there we filled in the whole of that top row, which is going to help us. Again, we'll stay up here because we've got a lot of constraints. We've got some cells here that we can look at. This one, we can't go diagonally. We could go horizontally, couldn't we? So you may have to leave that one for a moment because we could have verticals or we could have horizontals. What we can't have is diagonals. So we've reduced our options, but not sufficiently to work out the contents of that cell yet. But if we move down to the next row along and have a look at this D here, well, we can't go that way, can we? We could go this way, or we could go this way. Either way, we're going to have to connect these 2 to stand any chance of getting 3 or 4 cells together. Simon, did you want that diagonal in now? And again, while we're up here, we've got this diagonal here. Well, we can't go that way, so we have to come down this way, at least 3 cells. That's 1, 2, 3. Maybe further, we'll find out. Now, having drawn in this line here, that gives us a clue about this cell here. It can't be a horizontal or a vertical. There's nowhere for that to go. We can't go that way because this line is blocking us. So we have to come this way, which means this is going to have to be a diagonal line traversing 3 cells. And that, in turn, this new line here, enables us to solve this cell, which must be part of this line because we can't come out this way and we can't come down here, 3 cells, because we're being blocked by this one. So you can extend this line, and by the same logic, we have to extend this line up here into this cell now because we can't come up here. So that's filled in the whole of this column. Now this line helps us with the vertical. We've got to come down at least 3 cells there. And then we have a vertical here, don't we? If we're coming down at least 3 here, we're going to have to include this one. It's the only way to include it into a vertical line that's valid. Now, I'm just looking at this diagonal. It's got to be part of this line, hasn't it? There's no other option for that one. So this line is now 3 cells wide. It may still go up to here, or maybe this is a horizontal line. We still don't know about that one. What we do know is that this line means that this vertical has to come down that way, and this line means that this vertical has to come down this way. And we could also determine by this line that this vertical has to take in this cell, because you can't get a diagonal here, we've only got 2 cells, so the only way to include this cell is into this vertical, so we're going to have to come down at least 3 cells there. And we've got the same thing going on here. We've got to come down at least 3 cells here. Do we should have quite a lot of the puzzle on this side? Let's come back and look at this side because we need to work out what's going on up here. And to do that, I'm going to look at this D here. Well, we could go there, but we're blocked by the V up here, so we can't get 3 cells in a row there. So we've got to come this way. 1, 2, at least 3 cells. And in fact, it's got to be 4 cells, hasn't it? Because of this D here, which can't go that way, so it has to form part of this diagonal line. The fact that this line traverses this cell means that this V now has to incorporate these 3 cells. That's the only way to do it. So 1, 2, 3, which means that we only have 2 cells here now. So that can't be a horizontal line. We speculated that maybe it was a 3-cell horizontal. No, it can't have 2 cell horizontals. Therefore, this V has to go up through there and down through here, and it's going to have to incorporate this one as well as that's the only way. And that leaves just this cell orphaned up here, which is going to have to be an extension of this diagonal. So we're really getting somewhere now, aren't we? We've filled out more than half of the puzzle. Let's come back to the edges again and look from the bottom and work upwards. I'm particularly interested in this diagonal. We can't go that way because we're blocked up here. So we have to go this way. And the fact that we've just got this cell means that the only way to get this cell into a line is to extend this one. Now we know that these two have got to be connected together and come to at least here. Now this one may go that way. We can't extend this one down into this cell, but this cell could be a diagonal up here. Don't know yet, gonna leave that. What I do know, looking at this side of the puzzle, is that we've got 2 cells here that we can't get to in any other way than making them part of a vertical, and that we can't get out diagonally. So that's gonna have to be at least 3 cells of vertical. And we've got these 2 diagonals here, which could come up to here. But again, this one can't go anywhere, can't go horizontally, can't go diagonally. So it has to be via this line to extend that one. And that means that this vertical has to be via this line. So we'll extend that one as well. Now we've got this isolated cell here, which is going to have to form part of this diagonal. 2, 3. That gives us an isolated cell here. We're going to have to come down here. 1, 2, 3. Now this H, we've only got 3 cells left. We'll come across here, which leaves us only 3 here. So that has to be a horizontal. And that answers the question of what we do with this one. We can't be a diagonal. We can't come down here because we're already 4 cells long. So we have to extend this line into that cell. And that's it. We've completed the puzzle. Every cell is visited once and only once. We haven't got any lines crossing. As I say, we can cross at intersections of cells like this, but we don't have 2 lines crossing within a cell. So that's all allowed. Every line is 3 or 4 cells wide or long. So we have found the one and only valid solution for this puzzle. So that's a 1-star puzzle. It's a pretty easy puzzle. It is a starter puzzle, although it was longer to solve than some of our starter puzzles. It's just logic. There's simple logic. There's no long chains of logic required to solve any particular cell. Just working around methodically is enough to solve that one, which is why it only counts as an easy 1-star puzzle. They get much bigger and much harder and do require longer chains of logic. You'll find bigger sections like this with no letters in that you have to work out what goes where. It's a fun puzzle. It's a good challenge if you like spatial awareness puzzles. It's something a bit different from the usual fare. This particular puzzle comes from a back issue of Puzzle Weekly, which is our free weekly magazine. You can download that every week, 28 puzzles every week, completely free. And there's a link in the description to find out more. And there were some taster puzzles for line segment and a written tutorial on their website as well. Again, the link's in the description for that.
Hi, I'm Pete. Don't forget you can get our Puzzle Weekly magazine delivered to you every Monday, completely free. Visit the link to get your copy.